This week on Kengan Omega, Okoye has reached the supreme realm of the Bozos. Man, truly just needs to die at this point, like, honestly, come on. But apart from that, we got finally some official confirmation of the Connector's kind of role in the story and where he currently sits in regard to the worm and everything going on. When Yan and Wulong were talking about Ziyuji and Koga, Yan said this: I mean, they don't know you're the head of the organization. Meaning that the Connector Wulong is indeed above the likes of Yan, the Tiger Nico, and I guess current Eddie. However, Yan does use the wording head of the organization instead of head of the worm. Of course, the organization could be referring to worm, or maybe the organization is something bigger than the worm, where Yan is the head of the worm by itself, with Gilbert as the leader of the Westwood faction of the Wu clan, and the Tiger Nico kinda just doing whatever he really wants part of worm. It seems like the Connector is either the head of the worm technically, or like a shadow leader of like the broader organization, hence the title Connector, being the one who links all three of them together, while also being the one authority wise above all of them, as Yan also says, you're lucky you've got me working for you. And back during the Purgatory vs Kengan tournament, Ziyuji said that when it came to authority within the worm, Eddie, the Tiger Nico, and Yan had the same level. And in the flashback of this chapter, we see Ziyuji trying to impress the Connector, not really aiming to impress his brother Yan the Head, or Eddie, someone with the same authority as him. And this also explains why Gilbert, the new leader of the Westwood faction, wanted to meet with the Connector, and Yan was the one telling him that, you know, Gilbert wants to meet with you as he's the one above everyone. So yeah, I'm glad that finally got confirmed. There were like subtle hints throughout, but just getting official confirmation like that is good to see. So the Connector is the top dog in the story, but the Tiger Nico, I still get the sense that, you know, he's a little bit mysterious in some ways, doing his own thing, doesn't really care about others from what we were seeing about his character. And the fact that during the ZG flashback we see Eddie, one leader, Yan another leader, and Faye pretty much the person representing the Tiger Nico in this situation in my opinion. So that's something cool to note. So again, Tiger Nico not really being part of any direct affairs of the organization. But before I continue, if you enjoyed Kengan or really any fighting manga content I probably talk about on this channel, so maybe hit that subscribe button, it's greatly appreciated. But let's continue. I'm kinda concerned about Gaara character. It seems as though he's been completely influenced and changed by the likes of Okoye and Kiryu. Now he's back on his full worm extermination grind set, 100%. Focus on that rather than getting stronger or anything else like Koga's been doing. Giving the sense that Koga may have surpassed Gaara, but again, as I've been saying in previous videos, Gaara, quite a questionable character, and there's still a lot of stuff to learn about the truth about his power. But Okoye, as I said, truly a bozo. A few chapters ago, when he was getting beat up by Ziyuji, he pretty much admitted that even in his peak, he's no match for him. And now with him seeing Koga not actually killing Ziyuji, he's pretty much saying he's going to kill Koga now. So yeah, Justice Boy back on his stupid shit, thinks he can take on everyone, but now that he's challenged the protagonist of Kengan Omega, that may be the one thing we've been missing for the eventual death of Okoye. And a lot of people may be saying that I like dislike him. I do find him a pretty like, I don't know, funny at times character in the series with the way he acts, but I just get the sense, like based on what we're being presented in the story, that he's been heading down the path of ending up dying for quite a long time. That's just what I think. Not because I really dislike him too much, but he is, you know, a certified clown for what he does. But yeah, that's just my perspective on that. I'm not too sure what Oma's current objective is. I would like to think it's to get revenge and defeat the Tiger Nico, but I don't really know. He's being quite weird. He's repaid his debt to Ziyuji, who he's pretty much done in the story for, I like to say. Giving similar vibes to Yumi, where he's just going to live in fear for the remainder of his life. He's not going to be relevant anymore, which I'm not going to complain about. He did have a good little mini character arc here, but I never really liked Ziyuji that much. I thought he was going to, you know, be removed from the story from Joji and Koichi, but he was able to survive until now, so I guess that's impressive. We've learned everything there really is to learn about Ziyuji. However, he's most likely not going to be killed off as the direct subordinates aren't going to kill him, the Kengan Association aren't going to kill him, unless like Kiryu and the Justice Squad like end up killing him. I don't think anyone's going to take out ZG, so he may potentially return in the future of the story, but I've had to place my bet. I think it will be more so doubtful. Chapter 160, I believe, will be like a little time skip again, or won't be continuing from the direct events we saw at the end of this chapter, as they're all most likely going to head out. We may see what Oma's going to do for a little bit, we may see like Garuki's perspective, or we may still stay on Koga's. Definitely out of those three, or maybe we could completely cut to something else, like a shock chapter out of nowhere. But as a whole, chapter 159, I enjoyed it. ZG had a good send-off. The whole stuff of Faye, Yarn, and Edward taking out these people and pretty much flexing on ZG was pretty badass. Seeing Eddie and Faye again is, you know, always good to see, especially Faye, as we virtually still have Eddie in the story to be, you know, doing things in the future. Let me know down below what you think about this chapter and where you personally think the story is going to go. Another thing to really talk about is how Yarn pretty much mentions that the objective of the worm is now complete, so their current role in the story is kinda question marks around that, what they're going to do. We know that the Connector and Yarn are both still in Japan, so they could run into someone and that could be a whole crazy exchange. The Connector did show interest in wanting to meet with Koga due to his insane improvement in just 2 years. So he's taking an interest in Koga, so that may be a plot line in the future. However, the big thing to look forward to is the war between the Kure and the main branch versus the Westwood faction, who are going to be supported by the worm. I think that's the big event to come in the future. So for a little bit, we may see some of the other fighters. We haven't seen Cosmo really do much in Omega since the really start, so maybe seeing him have a Kengan match, or some of the other Kengan fighters we didn't really get to see too much of. That could be cool. Maybe some of the Purgatory fighters facing like another Kengan fighter, like a quick 1 or 2 chapters about that. Something cool to give us a little break from all this Worm and Koga stuff. But one more big thing I really need from Kengan Omega, we've had 160 chapters almost, and we haven't seen Kuroki fight again, or really say too much. A few lines about some of the Purgatory and Kengan fighters during the tournament, a few flashbacks of him training Rito, and a flashback with Lolong, but we haven't seen current Kuroki do anything physical. So I'm personally hoping that comes very shortly. That's going to be beyond hype. So it's been a while since we've seen Kuroki do anything relevant. And you know, Kuroki's name alone, the Almighty Beard, has beyond hype associated with that. So that could be cool. But that's really everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. Sorry about the delay. But as always, check out the other stuff in the description if you're an absolute mad lad. And shout out to the Patreon supporters. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.